All right, Mike Bohn here with Holly Holm, the former UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. And Holly, how are you doing? First of all,
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm great. It's good to talk to you again. And I guess just to elaborate on that, just how are you feeling physically? I know you had to pull out of the fight in May against Juliana Pena, and you underwent a surgery. And I know you said, I think you talked a little bit about how this has like helped you, something that was kind of ailing you for a while that you weren't really even aware of. So just like, how are you feeling now that you're a few months removed
Yeah,
from all
you
that?
know what? I feel really great. It's called hydronephrosis, and it was basically how I was born. I had like an artery and a blood vessel, basically like crimping my ureter, which is the tube that goes from your kidney to your bladder. So, and they say they usually find a lot of that stuff just through accident or over time. It probably just got tighter and tighter, and got to the point where my kidney wasn't able to drain correctly, and so I had to do that obviously to, you know, prevent my kidney from having like any like kidney damage. A lot of people can even lose a kidney over stuff like that. So I'm just glad that I was able to find it and then it was fixable. The success rate of this surgery is like 95%. So if there's any way to find that you have a injury, a lot of times people are in pain. They don't even know what it is. People are trying to, doctors are trying to figure it out. So I'm just super, super thankful that it was, we were able to figure out what it was, and not only that, but that it was, fixable. So I just had to have surgery. It wasn't a very long recovery. Like, 4 to 6 weeks, I was already back, at least running and training. So it really wasn't too much of a setback. Some of my every like fight week, we water load and drink a lot of water before we cut weight, and that's when I would feel like a severe amount of pain a lot because I would, water load, drink all this water, and my kidney wasn't able to do anything with it, so it was giving a lot of pain in my kidney. So in hindsight, it's just everything makes sense. Look back, it's like, well, that's what it was. So I'm definitely healthy. I'm feeling great. I don't everything's 100%. So
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that and everything. I'm sure that's gonna, be a big relief moving forward and stuff. And you see, I mean, you're
absolutely.
supposed to fight Juliana there, and she ends up getting the title shot against Amanda. Were you hoping that that fight would be rebooked and that she'd kind of wait around for you, or were you kind of
That's what I was
understanding on how
hoping.
they? Yeah.
Well, I could have fought by when the fighting, so that doesn't make any sense. I could have fought in July. I mean, I was back training. Um, Obviously, I need a whole training camp, but I would have had plenty of time. By the time I was, recovered from surgery, I'd have a full training camp to still even be able to fight in July. And they're not even fighting till August, so that doesn't even make any sense. But I always just go with what's in me. There was nothing I could have done about it at the time. A major amount of pain. It just kept getting more and more. And I told my coach, if this pain comes back in my stomach, I'm going to go to the urgent care because something's wrong. I knew something was wrong. And they wound up needing to do like a emergency surgery that night. Not emergency, but yeah, they needed to get me in there to put a stent in there to help relieve the pressure off my kidney while I waited to get surgery. Got in surgery within a week and a half, and then 4 weeks after that I was running. But so it wasn't like the longest off. I was hoping to have just got the fight rebooked, but maybe there's just other things in store for me. So I'll take whatever it is.
Yeah, we're kind of left in that familiar situation that we've had with you a couple times in recent years. Like, what's the most logical fight? But then along comes your old friend and dance partner, Miesha Tate, and has her comeback fight, and she wins. And I think everyone, even going into that fight, thought a rematch between you two would make a lot of sense. And she went out there and had a nice performance, beats Marion Renault, and I think a lot of people were talking about that fight. So is that kind of the one that you're looking at? Makes the most sense for you right now?
After Juliana got booked with Nunes, we were just kind of thinking, like, who else is there? Because everybody was booked at the time. So they've kind of just, from what I understand, they're waiting to see how a few fights were going to go. There's the Miesha fight with Renal. There was Aldana, who I just fought, and Yana, and they're, this weekend is Aspen Lad. So there's, within like 3 weeks, there's 6, girls in my weight class that have fight. So I think they're kind of waiting to see what happens there. But to me, I think the Miesha Tate fight just makes the most sense because, that's a loss that I want to avenge. And I mean, even in the fight, it wasn't one of those fights that I was like getting dominated. Actually winning and doing well until the very end of the fight. So kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. I want to make it right. And I know that Miesha Tate always for a challenge, so I'm not sure why we shouldn't make the fight happen.
Yeah, what do you think would be different all these years later? I mean, if you kind of look back, obviously your first loss, I know there was behind the scenes a lot of drama in that fight with the UFC wanting you to wait around to rematch Ronda and all that kind of stuff. So, like, fast forward to now, I'm sure there would be a lot of that outside noise gone. How do you think a fight would be different now between you two?
Well, I think that, I don't think I know. Now my MMA game is a lot more well-rounded than when it was when I fought her. And I know there was a lot of talk of wait for the rematch with Ronda, but the rematch with Ronda would have gone the same as the first. And I'm one of those that I don't like to make my entire career on one person. I wanted to keep challenging myself as a fighter. So it made sense for me to take whatever challenge was next at the time. I can't ever go back and say, oh, I regret doing that. Maybe that helped me learn even more after that fight to be able to be the better fighter I am today. If I could go back, I would never have a lot of fun in my career. But it is what it is now, and rather than just say, I wish I coulda, shoulda, I want to do something about it. And so I've been training and learning and getting better, and that's where I'm at with this. I'm a completely different fighter than I was back then. I went from, oh my gosh, my first part of my career was let's not get taken down and let's just work on get-ups. That was my first few training camps, was just working on get-ups. And then all the way to my last fight, I was able to take my opponent down. She, before that fight, had the second highest takedown defense. So just to see where I've come over my career, I know that I'm a completely different fighter. And as Miesha's come back and shown improvement from where she went, I feel like it's just an exciting fight to make happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I know she did an interview this week I saw with ESPN, and she's kind of talking about how maybe she wants to fight another person before fighting you. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I know, knowing you and all the times we've talked, you're not waiting around, right? Like, I'm sure you want to fight as soon as possible, whether it's Miesha or not, and you're just more worried about getting back in there in general, right?
Absolutely. This October will be a year. And like obviously my last fight was something that I had to pull out of, but that's, only a 2-month period out of 12. So I'm really ready to try and get things back on track and just get in there and fight. I don't want to just sit on the shelf just waiting. I want to make something happen.
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah. And before I get you out of here, a couple other things. Do you see Juliana Pena having any path to victory against Amanda Nunes? Do you think she can bring anything to the table there? Or how do you make of that fight we have coming up in a couple weeks here?
I think that anything can happen in a fight, so I'm never going to sit here and say that there's no chance somebody can win. I definitely see Amanda winning this fight. If there's something that Juliana pulls off, I think a lot of people don't see that happening, but there's always a chance, and everybody has a puncher's chance when they get in there. Anything can happen, but I see Amanda winning the fight, and I guess we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And last but not least, most importantly, what's Ludacris's MMA game like? I know he was in the gym the other day taking some photos. Can you give us some insight into what Ludacris looks like inside the gym?
You know what? I'll tell you, most importantly, he's a really down-to-earth person, a guy come in the gym, and he's been using the facility to just work out, and while he's been here for a while, and so, he's got a good energy, and we as a team try to let him have his space, and in return he really respects the team and is appreciative for being able to use the space. And so I met him before at the Super Bowl, so it was good to see him again in a whole, different atmosphere. And so it's awesome to have him here in New Mexico. Us New Mexicans love anybody that wants to kind of come in and has any bit of like a passion for the sport. So yeah, he's in there doing his thing.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I know you have to run here, Holly, so I really appreciate the time. Drive safe, and hopefully we can see you back in the octagon very soon here.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Good day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.